What's up, folks? Steve Holmes here, once again with another video lesson for all you folks out there on the internet who are trying to learn new things on the YouTubes and all that good stuff. So I figured I would do a video on something a little different this time. This is something that I'm still working on these days, but I found it really helpful. So I'm not like 100% comfortable doing it yet. But it's something that I'm kind of slowly like working on and just kind of incorporating into my playing. This is a concept that is fairly common, but I've never heard it really explained in a way that it kind of clicked for me, you know. And I tend to try to do that with all my videos, you know what I mean? There's something that I wish that I could do, and I haven't found yet a video or heard someone explain a way where it's like, oh, that's it, you know. And so I try to do that in my videos. Once I make that connection with the concept, I try to, you know, share that connection with you guys, like in these videos, right? So my playing when I solo, when I play lots of fills and stuff, it's very like 16th note triplet oriented, and that works at a lot of different tempos, but not so much at like medium and slower tempos. Sometimes I want to kind of take it up a notch and play faster, and so, you know, the subdivision that sounds good for that purpose is like 30-second notes, right? And 30-second notes they're just so fast, right, by nature. It's like 8 notes per quarter note, right? And so they fly by, and so it's hard to come up with like a way to you know, have cool like phrasing, you know, using 30-second notes. At least it was a challenge for me, right? And so, you know, my friend Derek DeField's like amazing drummer. He was really good at like playing 30-second note phrasing, and it turned out that a lot of the stickings that he used when playing 30-second notes were like paradiddle oriented stickings. And so he showed me a couple basic phrases like using paradiddles that were like applicable to 30-second notes. And that was some of the stuff I played like at the beginning of this video, right? So what I thought I would do is share some of the stuff that I've worked on and kind of walk you through the process that I am still doing when I'm working on this stuff. And it's basically it's an attempt it's me trying to have like a musical process, and then I would come up with like a 1-bar phrase, playing 30-second notes and using various paradiddle stickings, right? So again, as with a lot of the things that I work on, especially with soloing and fill phrasing and that kind of thing, it's all about the accents for me. And so when you hear a lot of notes going by, and you hear like this, right? So what I'm not thinking about all those notes. I'm thinking about like da 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 go ba, you know, or like da 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 da, right? That's what I'm thinking. It's just that those accents are usually the first stroke of a paradiddle phrase, whether it's like a single paradiddle or double paradiddle or paradiddle diddle. Or a double diddle paradiddle, like whatever it is, right? Like I know. All right, so I know what you're thinking. It's the same thing that I'm thinking, and that's Steve. Less talking, more playing. Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna slow this stuff way down, and we're gonna play in 1-bar phrases. Okay. I will play a groove for 1 bar, and then I'll play the phrase for 1 bar. And the way I'll play that phrase is very slowly and only on the snare drum. Then I'll play it faster. Okay. And it will be that process for each phrase. So pay attention to what the hands are doing, pay attention to where the accents are, and just keep in mind that the sticking doesn't change, okay? Because that can be deceptive. It'll sound like you're doing something different when really you're not, okay? So let's try this, all right? one's really cool because it has a left-handed paradiddle-diddle, right? Which is simple enough, just paradiddle-diddle, starting with the left hand. But the last diddle, which normally would be on the right hand, I'm replacing with the foot, right? So without the foot, it sounds like this. Paradiddle-diddle, paradiddle-diddle, right? Replacing the last diddle with the foot sounds like this. What I like to do with that phrase, with the left-handed paradiddle-diddle, is even though I'm playing the last diddle with the foot, I like to play it with the hand as well, just like on the ride cymbal, right? So if it's like paradiddle-diddle, right? That last diddle with the foot and the right hand. The right hand on the ride cymbal. That's really cool, and so I really like how that sounds, and so I try to incorporate that into that phrase. So I kind of jump start it with a single paradiddle, and then I just go to that, and then I just kind of come out, you know, as long as it's like one bar, and all 32 30-second notes are there, right? So that's kind of the root of this phrase. You get the point. It's important to me to really be able to slow this stuff down and have as much control over it slow as I do fast. And also to make sure the accents are loud and the soft notes are soft, and that I'm successfully communicating the phrase that I intend. And what I intend is right? So you saw I was going back and forth, like putting the right hand on the hi-hat, closing it nice and tight to get that staccato thing so you can hear all the notes really clean, putting the right hand on the ride cymbal, putting the left hand on the toms. You can see me like struggling with it, like making mistakes and going in and out. Like this is the process. This is the practice process of getting to what I call the finish line, which is like I can successfully say this on the drums, okay? And it's an interesting process, you know? Step one is like get the sticking happening, understand the phrase, be able to play it comfortably. Experiment with putting it on the drum kit, speed it up. If you're having issues with motion, which is a whole other element to this thing, like if it feels awkward, like getting my left hand from the tom to the snare and from the high tom to the low tom and the you know, just motion-oriented things, like that's a whole other thing to practice, you know? So spend some time working on that if you're struggling with that. Like, you know, Virgil Donati's power drumming video is all about that, and it kind of helped me with that, you know? It's like, because it's one of those things you take for granted, like you think you can just do it, like, oh, I can do the sticking nice and fast, so I should be able to move my hands around the kit like blazingly fast. No. Like guys like Dennis and Novak and Virgil, like these speed demons, they spend time, I hope, like getting that stuff going, you know, and teaching your muscles so that muscle memory happens, okay? So that's a cool phrase. cool thing I found with this stuff is once you get a little comfortable doing it, if you take any one of these stickings and you put your hands like in a groove position, like hi-hat and snare drum, ride cymbal and snare drum, and just play one of these phrases and put like the bass drum with the right hand, and when the left hand is playing the beginning of a paradiddle phrase, then like use that as an accent, and it ends up turning into like kind of a cool groove, you know? So if you have like bat bat dat 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 dat, right? Right, and just putting in like boom da boom at the end, right? Right, if you put that like just hi-hat and snare drum, what was it? I forget the phrase already. You know, that kind of thing. So feel free to experiment with that. Like take any number of these and put it through like the groove filter, you know. It's just a matter of getting the bass drum and the snare drum to be loud enough to where the groove is conveyed, you know, and try to pick one where you think the groove sounds cool. Like that one, it's kind of okay, you know. So I guess that's pretty much it. I mean, there's a good handful of examples of this concept. And like I said, it's something that I'm still working on. And so I'm just going to leave mistakes in here, like so you can see, you know, so you can see the process, you know, like the flubs, and, you know, I call them like the brain farts where, you know, there's a little like, you know, bump in the road along the way between like I understand it and I'm executing it and I'm trying to do it and listening while I'm doing it. Like, does it sound the way I want it to sound? And that kind of thing. It's like what I call real-time producing, you know, like producing yourself as you're playing. It's like, that's a whole other topic for a whole other video, you know. So that's pretty much it, you know. Again, if you're having trouble pulling this stuff off with your hands, then just hit the pad, you know, hit the drum and just work on your singles and your mama dadas, you know, 2 strokes on each hand and get them clean. You know, I'm a big proponent of clean doubles, right? So no cheating, no buzzing, like start slow, keep it clean. And I guess that's it, all right? So have fun with this stuff, and remember, 30-second note paradiddle phrasing, it's not a toy, all right? Don't hurt anybody with it.